Peace, brother.
What up? What up? Everything is good. You can hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, sound is good. Everything is good.
Mm.
Everything is good. All right. Well, let's get this show cracking. Joanne, she's gonna be a little late, so she said she's gonna pop in. So yeah, she'll be in a little late, so we'll just wait for her to pop in. But in the meantime, we're gonna get this thing going how we normally do. What's up
Yes,
with you,
sir.
DC Aura?
I'm, I'm fine, man. I'm chilling. I'm enjoying what we call life. I'm relaxing. It was nice today. It was 60, I think 60, 50. Yeah, it felt like damn spring or some shit, dog. I was in a my mind was somewhere else. I was thinking I was already having, you know what I mean? I was having those thoughts when it's the summer. I was having summer thoughts. It was so warm outside, you didn't need a jacket. And I'm like, hold up, man. This is just for a couple of hours, bro. Yeah, I mean, I had to remind myself that this is just for a couple of hours, man. We'll be back to winter, so don't. It's like I'm already looking at the next day being hot. The next day, I don't know why I was thinking like that, but I had to shut that down in my head.
Yeah, it was pretty warm out here today too. Probably like close to 70. It was real nice. So same way. I mean, I get a little comfortable. Well, we've been having those days off and on, but whenever that pollen shit shows up and trees start budding a little bit, I know that the season's about to change. Which it'd be time to do like a good detox and a fast and all that when the seasons change like that. So that's it's preparing me now. I'm seeing glimpses of the shit warming up a little early, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into the mode of that. Other than that, everything been chill down here in ATL, Georgia. What's been going on in Jersey? Everything cool?
Everything is cool out here, man. We ain't doing nothing but waiting for the Big Bang Theory. So we wait.
Yeah, I think we the extreme calm before whatever storm.
Oh yeah,
You
for
know,
sure, for sure. It's definitely from this nice day. It's definitely something coming. Believe me. It's supposed to snow, I think, tomorrow, but it didn't look on the forecast. I mean, when I looked on the forecast, I didn't see nothing. But I'm pretty sure that's gonna level out. We'll find out that there's a storm on the way by Tuesday. We'll get a big
man,
storm probably on the weekend. Guarantee that. Mother Nature don't play, man. You
y'all
gotta
can
time.
have that shit a storm.
I'm just
No,
that's my theory.
well, I mean, for the most part, it's been nice here and there. It'd be cold as hell in the morning, but for the most part, everything is chill. Everything is chill. Super Bowl tomorrow. Um, I don't really care. It is what it is.
Me either.
Um, but everybody gonna be tuned in and paying attention to that. We got a very interesting show tonight. That things come up in conversation a lot. They've come up over the years about the evildoers that run the world, better known as the Illuminati. And I thought it'd be a very interesting topic to talk about because I'm gonna chronicle to a degree my journey um, leading up to discussing them and that time frame and what we were doing around that time. So it's gonna be an interesting discussion and just kind of demystifying a lot of stuff and helping people along the way of kind of putting in the context of who and what and why they are.
Who
But
they are? Who are they?
yeah,
Are they
we'll get in.
human? Are they man? I mean, are they?
Yeah,
What are they?
we'll get into all of that. It's gonna
Oh
be a very
shit!
interesting thing. I got a couple of main event articles that I wanted to talk about right quick. I'm gonna share my screen. Share my share my screen. Something I came across that it was a couple of things that came across my proverbial desk, and want to get into those because we talked about this.
Think about
Talk about this and talk about that.
you can
Thought
talk
this
about
was interesting. And I remember us having a conversation about them actually creating food that will have the candy already in it where people wouldn't have to take jabs. And I thought this was very interesting because when you look at, what's going on in the world today, when people go to great lengths to put something like this into food, you gotta question the motives at this point. And I know there's gonna be people who's like, "Oh, that's a great thing." People gotta stop taking the advancement of technology as always a great thing. It in the context of what we're discussing, you got to look at the fact that there is something wrong with this picture because if people don't want to do something that I think is based along the lines of choice, then why would you go around my ability to choose and then put it in something that I'm
you know
using on a
right,
daily basis? Like
right.
that is it's on a whole nother level, but
Man, that's disrespectful, man. That's power and disrespect, yo. That's the lowest of respect you can give anybody, man. Is to do something like that to a person, to do to a generation of people. Period. Doing something like that is just wrong, man. That's foul. I can't believe they even getting away with it. So it goes to show you that this is bigger, like you said. This is bigger than and just them. The whole entire government, everybody is a part of this shit.
yeah, it's a little. It's gotten to the point where it's extremely weird now. And for anybody who cannot see that there's some other shit going on, then may the force be with them when
Maybe they
shit
stay
hits the
asleep
fan. But
well.
that's the yeah. I saw this and I was like, yo, this is bugged out. Because even down to I remember a time frame where we were more concerned with them labeling food um, non-GMO, right? Because there's a lot of things that are non-GMO, and there's things that are genetically modified that they won't label the food genetically modified. So we'll buy it and consume it, not knowing that it's genetically modified. Which I think, if it is genetically modified, it needs to be labeled. And I know that was a big thing at one point that um, some people were fighting to get everything labeled that had been genetically modified because we have a right to know if this shit is not naturally occurring food. Then let me know that so I can make a choice on if I want to fuck with it or not. That's all I'm saying.
That's why they should have an
And
owl for that. They should have an
huh
owl for that. They should have a they should have an owl for that in the food stores. It's like you know, it should have what? Yeah, you know what you saying. They should have a sign for the halls or whatever. When you go into each hall to eat or something like that, it'll tell you, food like products. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Food like products versus food products, stuff like that. It should be all it should be all labeled in the store. So
Yeah, you're right. And I remember people were so distracted with other shit that was going on that when it was time to go and vote, to have it, you know, enacted as a law that they have to label this shit. People were so distracted they didn't even realize that that was even an agenda. Like they keep you focused on shit that don't matter, while shit that really matters flows under the radar, and people don't even put their attention into it. But I remember this coming up and being an issue, and people wanted, those who were in the know wanted the shit labeled, and I still do not think that it's law. Like they still can make shit that's genetically modified to feed it to you and not tell you. So it's not really law right now. I don't think, but yeah, that shit's crazy when you start putting shit in food, and it's and keep in mind that the mRNA is technology. It's not a freaking vaccine. But people, please go do your homework and please understand what that is versus people making blanket statements about something being something simple as a traditional vaccine. It's not. But anyway, moving right along, I want to share this next current event that I came across that I thought was very interesting because this is something that we had talked about, um, you know, at the kind of in the middle of the last run of the sickness, and now they want to come out and say, "Hey, there's some truth to this," which is funny because now everything that the weirdos have been screaming, the normies are now saying, "Oh, yeah, that shit's true. That's just true." But when we were saying that the shit was blasphemy, but it is what it is. Let me see. Boop. Wow. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Boom. Okay. Blow. There we go. Fix this here. Now, when we were saying this, people thought, "Oh, niggas is just goofy." But now they have scientists in Israel. Vitamin D could be a piece of COVID-19's complex puzzle. Now, here's the thing. When people were saying, let's just say conspiracy theorists, they were saying, look, your vitamin D levels, you need to get them up optimal because there's obviously a link between mortality and this so-called sickness, right? And people ran with the narrative of that can't be possible. Like, why would something simple as and very cheap and affordable as vitamin D be so effective? And here's how you tie it back in. Scientists were puzzled on why Africa didn't get fucked up really bad by C19. They were puzzled because they're thinking they don't got proper hospitals, they don't got proper medication, they don't have proper housing, they don't have a lot of modern shit. So if you have a sickness like this that's gonna come through, it's gonna just decimate because people are living in not too modernized situations over in Africa. But Africa was virtually untouched. How do you explain that shit? Everything that was modern caught hell, but Africa got spared. Now, you get this report saying, hey, vitamin D levels. How do we get vitamin D? Vitamin D comes from some food sources, but we also can synthesize vitamin D from sunlight. So you spend time outside, enough time outside, you can synthesize enough vitamin D to keep your immune functions operating properly because vitamin D is a hormone. So now they're coming out saying there's a link between optimal vitamin D levels and you becoming severely ill or even dying from C19. Now, we were saying take extra vitamin D, make sure your levels is up, go to the doctor, get them checked, do this, do that. People thought it was just a joke and, whatever. Now they're coming out and saying, hey, they were right. And I thought this shit was very interesting that now all this information is circling back around the wagon. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting. What do you think about that?
What I think is when I got sick, I really didn't take anything. You know what I mean? I didn't really take you. You know how I feel about a lot of stuff. I really feel that the body is designed to adapt and overcome. I really don't. I'm not really into the nutrition thing, to be honest with you. I'm not into like what we call vitamins. I just don't believe that these vitamins really are. I can't really. How can I say this? I'm trying to say this the right way.
I'm gonna
The
help you in a minute,
body.
but go ahead.
See, this is the reason why I don't believe vitamin D is even a vitamin. To be honest with you, I don't even believe it's a vitamin. But
Not in the sense of a vitamin, not in the
right,
sense of what we think vitamins are. Because going outside in sunlight and synthesizing something and converting light into a soluble hormone that the body's going to use as a hormone, it's not a vitamin. It's labeled a vitamin.
and shouldn't it be found in all? Shouldn't it be found in all foods? Then, if the sun gives off vitamin D, everything pretty much from what we know lives off the sun. So wouldn't every food on a planet have vitamin D content in it? Wouldn't that just make sense, right? Because I don't believe that our diets were like we need this certain thing, we need that certain thing from here, from there. I just don't see that diet being available back for us to exist. I mean, that's a lot of shit, you know what I mean? Like so what's the
Well,
real case with nutritional shit? Cuz I've really never believed in the nutritional factor. I really believe it's business really. But go
okay.
ahead.
Um, no, the sun does not make vitamin D.
No, I
We
know that.
make vitamin D. That's
Right,
why I use the term synthesize because we take the sunlight and we convert it
right.
and make the vitamin D ourselves. So vitamin D wouldn't be in all things because all things can't synthesize or convert sunlight into vitamin D. All things can't do that, but we can. But you also can find vitamin D in certain foods, not all.
Why
Certain
not though?
plants, not all. Because you still have to have the ability to convert it. It's almost like you have to have the machinery to take one thing and turn it into another. Everything doesn't have the machinery to do that. You're right about the sunlight aspect of, life here wouldn't even exist if we didn't have the sunlight. But being able to convert it is the key. And we can convert it. So we're able to make vitamin D because of the sunlight.
Like we make
All
all other vitamins, right? But don't we make all other vitamins too? Don't our body process that energy and the it's like building blocks? It creates its own vitamins for certain jobs in the body. Like you know what I mean?
certain vitamins can be synthesized also. But when you hear the term essential, our body typically doesn't make it. When you hear essential fatty acids, our
Potassium,
bodies don't make essential fatty acids.
and
No.
zinc, potassium, zinc, and stuff like that. Those seem like to be the only real links to me that you really need. But I don't even know if you really need that because from my
Well,
experience, I don't take none of that stuff, and I kind of still do good. Like I mean I don't
well,
see where it makes a difference when I do take it from the difference when I don't take it.
I think what you're missing is you're not supposed to, in the traditional sense of health, take vitamins and minerals. You're supposed to eat that shit.
Right,
So if you have a healthy diet, then you're getting what you need. There's no need for you to take a supplement. Supplement means I'm not getting what I need, so I need to supplement it with a tablet or a
true.
pill or some shit. So if you are eating zinc and eating the minerals and eating the vitamins, you don't need to take that shit. But they fucked up the soil. They depleted things so much where what used to be in the foods back in the day, the shit's void now. So we have to take fucking supplements to bridge the gap to have optimal health because the soil is depleted of certain nutrients that it had back in the day. It's
because
like
nothing
once
can
you,
decay in it, right? Yeah, I
huh?
mean, they don't allow the plants to die and stuff like that, right? It
The,
doesn't,
the
it
the
doesn't allow
natural the natural
destruction.
process of things, they don't allow that
Yeah,
because when you have to produce so much, you have to create synthetic ways of
right,
maintaining and keeping up with the demand. Like where the fuck
right,
they getting all these fucking like every corner has either a chicken or a burger joint on it.
right.
Where all these
How you
chickens
get it
and
from?
where all these fucking
I'm saying, where you get all that chicken from, right? Like how many chickens you gonna kill to feed billions of people every day?
yes,
Because you know everybody eat chicken. It ain't like
yeah,
you got three cats in every town that eat chicken. Everybody eat tons of chicken. Each one of us eat tons of chicken, dog. Where all them chickens at?
yeah. So this is where science comes in, and this is where people and corporations they have meetings about shit like this. They have to come up with scientific ways to produce more chickens faster. They got to figure out chemicals and things to make the chicken grow faster to keep up with the demand. And you move further and further and further away from natural chicken to a more modified situation just to keep up. If
But you
the
know what, too?
if hamburgers started out as 100% beef, fucking 5 decades down the road, it probably got like 5% beef, rest soy, and
Right,
all types of other shit in it that tastes like beef
right.
because we don't got enough cows to give you 100% beef patty. We just can't.
But you know what's sad though? That can be easily fixed, but you know it's really all about money. Everything
Well,
is about
yeah.
money. It's about money and control. You know what I mean? Basically, it's all put out that way. Because I was like, okay, all right. If there's people don't need to eat the way they eat anyway. Everybody eat too much. We all overeat. So that's the first problem right there. If that was really the case, people should have a only a certain amount of food a day, like 3 meals, and not 15, 18 pieces of chicken per meal. A decent amount of food. You don't need all, we just eat and eat and eat. We just eat it's like a recreational, it's like a game. We just eat for the taste. They can
Well,
fix
yeah.
that by putting everybody on a regimen, a health regimen, like how much you should
But
be able per
but
person to consume.
didn't you say we should live in a free society?
Huh?
I
No, I'm saying,
said
no, I'm saying we got too many people right now. I mean, it's just too many people to share.
I'm glad you
I
said
mean,
that. I'm glad
to
you
all
said that
eat, to all eat
because
what we want to eat. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm gonna eat 12 pieces now, then I'm gonna go and get me another 12 pieces, then another 12 pieces. I'm really only eating for taste now because I'm just greedy. I'm not eating for health. So think about it. All the food is being consumed just because motherfuckers got taste buds. It ain't
well,
even that they really hungry.
I think some of the chemicals in the foods also cause an addiction, and with that addiction comes with extra eating. But back to what you said. You said, you know, you can fix that by, kind of curtailing what people eat and how much they eat because we got too many people. This is going to lead into tonight's discussion because this is what the Illuminati, the powers that be, whatever you want to call them, this is their ideology. They have a almost like a Thanos ideology a little bit because Thanos technically wasn't a bad guy, but Thanos had this thing where if we don't bring balance to what's going on, we won't survive anyway. So we got to keep everything in balance. That's why he was eliminating a certain amount of people on each planet to maintain balance because the shit was just going out of control. But this is part of their ideology on why they do what they do. And we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that, buddy. So I'm glad you said that. Too many niggas want chicken. Gonna cut down on this. So that's how they think.
Everybody eat tons of chicken, dog. Everybody eat tons of chicken, man. Like, just logically, you like, yo, there ain't that much chicken on the planet to feed everybody like that. Everybody eat that like you can eat as much chicken you want. If you got if you got enough money right now, you can eat chicken from right now all the way till you die and stuff yourself. So
Well,
you know something's wrong. Like, you just know something wrong, man. But for real, everybody needs a regimen, man. Everybody needs a 3 meal base regimen. Everybody need that. You don't have
well,
to be
some
greedy.
well, some people say you don't need three, you need one.
No,
But
no, I'm just saying, like, yeah, that's true. You can really 1 meal is fine too. But I'm just saying 3 meal, I would think will work for everybody. If it's just a three, like just a clean 3 meal, and you basically you decide if you want to eat 1 meal or 2 meals a day. You know what I mean? Whatever. But you actually saving food yourself. So it depends. You know what I mean? Like, cause you get to keep whatever you buy that day. It ain't like you know what I mean? Like you missed out. So let's say you get a three
so that's a
day.
control. That's a controlled society. You want to live in a controlled society?
I really don't care what society does, to be honest with you, at this point. I'm just saying, like, that's what I would do if I was trying to make the world better. That's what I would do. I would try and put everybody on a regimen. If I had a food issue, I would try to give everybody a more healthier, less food, more healthier, and you would have a choice out of, these
Now you
three.
do realize that the whole new plant-based fad is a part of their the Illuminati's agenda too. You know that, right?
I'm pretty sure everything on a market is a part of Illuminati's agenda, man. We just playing along the game with our beliefs of what they showing us and what stories they giving us behind all this. You know what I mean? I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure this is all a Cinderella game.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get into
So,
all of that. We're gonna get into, Pot said, hey, we need to have better managed meals here on Earth.
yeah, two
Things
pieces
would
of
be
chicken
better.
each person. Yeah.
Well,
I can see you now laughing at him, like eating 2 pieces of chicken and a biscuit and some rice and a cup full of like a cup.
we're gonna get into that, man. Let's go ahead and rotate, man, and we'll be back. All right, DCR, snap out of it. Snap out of it. I saw your face. It's like watching his life story before him. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
It had me
Yeah.
too. I was zoned out too.
Hey, yo, you get so zoned that he's like, I just want to watch this.
Oh my god, that's funny. But that's a testament to, we got a really good thing going. So, um so tonight's show, Illuminati, we will demystify and separate fact from fiction on who and what they are, if they exist, and all that jazz. We'll get into it.
That's a good one
But
too.
just a good segue into all of that. I remember probably early '90s, right after high school, and I left and moved to Atlanta, and got off into studying secret societies and shit like that. And then that was really when I was put on to a lot of the New World Order, Illuminati books, and all that type of jazz. And I came back to Jersey, and I wanted to share it with my homeboys. And I bought all. You remember I bought all those books?
Yeah, man. Yeah. You talking about the York books, right? York and all that
Nah,
stuff.
not those, but it was some of those and some of the other ones, the New World Order books and all of that. And
Yeah, I do
we used to
remember
have
them.
those discussions. That's when we started building on, all of that. And it was a because I remember one time at one point, I don't know if I left the books at your house or wanted to leave them at your house. You didn't want them at your house because Cats was
Why?
so. I think he was like, I don't want them books here because that information at that time was groundbreaking, and Cats was just wasn't ready. That's when we was getting introduced to the New World Order, and Cats was, like late '90s. Cats was rapping about it and mentioning it in their rhymes and all of that. So we became
Sure.
very aware of all of that and getting into it, and it was a very enlightening time, but it was also a time where uh, it was a pivotal turn in our trajectory and where we was going in life, because I think that was not for me but for our circle. That was the point, that was the spark at that moment that laid the foundation to where we are now, because I don't think if that moment didn't happen with me bringing those books and us having those discussions, I think we had videotapes and everything back then,
Yeah.
talking about all that. um It was seeds planted, man. It was seeds planted back then. We really didn't know too much about who or what they were. We just heard that term Illuminati was just a big deal. It's still a big deal today because people hear that shit today and they be like,
But you know it's crazy though, Dre. You were brainwashing us with that.
not
I'm just being
really.
real though. I'm just saying, like, no, I'm saying, but at that time, that was considered a brainwash. You know what I mean? Like, when you change a person's way of thinking. You know what I mean? So you actually was
Okay, yeah,
the
I
like
agree.
the
I
head of,
agree.
you know what I mean?
I
So you put that brainwash system in us, and we going around, being you. You know what I mean?
but here's the thing. I didn't know at the time because I mean, if you look at the show now, it's called Brainwashed on Heavy. And let me
Right.
explain what Brainwashed on Heavy means. You wash clothes on the heavy cycle when things are heavily soiled and dirty. So when you get your brain washed, you're getting your brains cleansed on the heavy cycle because of all the bullshit and heavy debris that we've picked up over the past generations. And that shit needs to be cleared out. That's why the show is called Brainwashed on Heavy, for those who don't know. But I was in a phase of sharing because to me it was enlightening and a little scary at that time for me to come across this information, and I wanted to share it with y'all, and that's what I did. When you learn some new shit, you want to share it with the next person, and
Surely.
I can remember it like it was yesterday because it was such a profound time. I remember that summer. I remember all that shit.
I remember the books for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I had a bunch of them books, man. And when you look at who and what they are, a lot of people don't know that it's not that they have this immense power over the planet. They have a system of hoarding resources. When you hoard all the resources, you have the power. It can be
Doing.
five motherfuckers sitting in a room somewhere who own everything and they have all the power and they can control everything, theoretically. Until the people understand that, damn, it's billions of us and it's five of them, then the whole shit crumbles because now people have realized that it's only a handful of people who are pushing the buttons behind the scene.
Yep.
And I think one of the things that we need to understand is you take, for instance, the dollar bill and it has the pyramid on the back and all that jazz. A lot of what we've seen, you know, over the years pertaining to the ruling elite and the Illuminati is a lot of information and a lot of symbolism that came from melanated people. Those a lot of those symbols are African in nature. They just took those symbols, gave them back to the world, and had a different spin on it, and we accepted that. Think about this: the only place where they build pyramids is in Northeast Africa that they call Africa. I mean Egypt today. Why would you have a pyramid on the back of your dollar bill? Everybody got a dollar bill. Everybody done had a dollar bill. Everybody's seen the pyramid. The thing is, that symbol is African in nature. Africans built pyramids. They're in Egypt. Why is it on American currency? But when we see that, we was taught that that symbol, it's the bad guys and all that type of jazz. But what if you found out that you got two symbols on the back of your dollar bill? One is African, and then the other symbol you got on the other side is an American eagle. So what if you got two ruling empires on the back of your money? One African and one American.
You know what that tells me?
What?
That tells me that this origin and everything about this is just modern day from the past. I mean, you know what I mean? I feel like the same parties who ruled then, they just evolved into what it is today. It's always been like that. I'm not saying always because I know, but I'm just saying from what we learned with the history thing, it's always been ruled. It's always, from that day, wherever they start at, that they ruled, but it just sounds like people from Egypt, this is their system in modern day. This is a modern day system of Egypt.
Okay, let's pause right there. You're right. The only thing is, the rulers of modern day Egypt are not melanated people. Egypt or Kemet was built by melanated people, people who look like you and me. At this point, we are pretty much the caretakers and the rulers of the planet. At this point, if you look at modern day Egypt today, somebody said, you know what? Them niggas over there, they built some nice shiny ass pyramids and they got some fancy shit over there and they got a lot of gold and they living good. You know what? Let's try to conquer them, steal their system, erase them out of the history books, rebuild their shit somewhere else. We gonna own it, and then they'll work for us. And that's pretty much what happened. So you're looking at a modern day Egypt, but the true rulers of it are not
Are
us.
slaves of it. You said, are the slaves of it now.
Yeah,
That's basically what you
it's a
just
flip
said.
flop. Yeah, it's a flip flop. So when you look at the ruling elite and you look at the Illuminati, you're looking at a very small group of people who utilized a science that they got from the originators. And the science, well, they didn't get all the science, but they got a good portion of the science. And the portion that they got, they were able to build so much wealth. And with wealth comes power. And with that power, they were able to corner all the markets, just about all the markets of the planet. I'm giving an example. Electricity. We had already figured out what electricity is as melanated people. Europeans came and rediscovered electricity. You had a person named Nikola Tesla, right? Who created, and he didn't create, but he figured out a way to harness free energy. Talking like cell phones before cell phones, lighting up light bulbs with no wires.
Right.
The Tesla coil, that's Nikola Tesla. They were so mesmerized at his science, but they couldn't figure it out because it wasn't something that they can explain. How the fuck you got light bulbs lighting up your whole front yard, but there are no wires or anything? You just got a fucking light bulb screwed into some dirt and it's lit up. They couldn't explain that. He was able to explain it because he was dealing with a higher science that didn't entail, how could I say this? You have certain people on the planet would rather stick a pole in the ground and run wire from it, and run wire from that and stick another pole in the ground, and run wire from that and stick another pole in the ground, and connect all these fucking poles all over the fucking place and let current run through it to supply your house with power, right?
Right.
And I'm gonna hook a meter up at the end of this shit so I can calculate how
Make
much
some money,
power
yeah.
is going through it.
Yeah, exactly.
I can charge you for this now.
Right.
Nikola Tesla was building Tesla coils, almost like a cell phone tower. And cell phone towers is his technology. But he was able to build these towers that only thing you had to do was build one tower in an entire city. That one tower powered the whole city. There was no wires. There was no cables. None of that shit. He wanted to give man free energy. The powers that be said, no. We like what you doing. How are we going to charge the people?
It don't make sense. It don't make sense when money is the food of our nature.
But this is how they run it.
It depletes money. But that's how a lot of stuff in this world is really here, because it makes sense on money basis, but it don't make sense for our evolution or our health. You know what I mean? Or our lifestyle. It don't make sense in that way. But as long as it makes sense in a money way, that's the direction where we headed. Everything has to make that it's a path of money.
But money,
it makes no sense.
It's not even the money. It's what you need the money for.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but I'm just saying, but it's for that reason. So what I'm saying is where we're heading, we're going backwards, because we're basically using control, thinking that we're evolving, but we're basically evolving into a form of control under somebody else's spell or somebody else's creations, whatever, just to generate revenue for themselves. So, like you said, that guy Nikola, Tesla, whatever.
Yes.
That guy, his invention was how old? What was his invention without the telephone poles and all stuff? How old was that?
Well, there was a battle between him and Edison. They was battling. So you got two scientists are battling to be in charge of the power race.
I mean, how old is this though? How old is this invention?
I'm gonna find out right now. But continue talking. I'm gonna find out right now.
Because if we can find out how old the invention is, we know how far behind we really are. Because if he took it that far back then we way behind. We we should be way ahead by now.
Well, you got to understand. We also had light bulbs and energy in Egypt, way back then. And matter of fact, I'm gonna put that on the screen so people can actually see that. But yeah, it boiled down to, and this all this ties into the Illuminati because they weren't called the Illuminati. That's a title given, and keep in mind, to illuminate means to be bright or smart or knowledge. That's what illuminate or Illuminati means. But the thing is, you have people who think that they're smarter than nature, and they're not. But they got so much uh, power through resources that they're able to control the masses. And they only control the masses on one concept and one concept alone.
We
And
know
we'll
what
get
it is.
into that. Sister J.
Sorry, I'm late.
There she go.
Here I am.
That's
Thought you
okay.
ran away with the light bulbs.
Yeah. But
I'm so late.
said you're late.
That's all right.
I'm so late. I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right. We held it down. But yeah. Nikola Tesla and there's a documentary you can watch that's really dope. And it goes into and this is where the Tesla cars come from and all that type of shit because they took his
Right.
technology. But Tesla basically wanted to give us free energy. Free. No charge, no nothing. You had a banker, and this is what your ruling elite are. They're bankers. They run your banks. They run all the what we use as a fuel source, your petroleum and everything that you need to sustain life. They have a monopoly on that shit. And when you have a monopoly on the necessities of life, they got a monopoly on food. They got a monopoly on our medicine. They got a monopoly on every fucking thing. So
Right.
when you have that type of power, you can dictate how the world is ran. They have a monopoly
Right.
on governments. If there's a
Right.
war, they buy fucking bullets for both sides. Nigga, y'all want to fight? I'm gonna sell you some bullets and I'm gonna sell you some bullets. Y'all fight, but I'm gonna sell y'all what y'all need. That's how they get down. So when you look at them, they really only run this entire shit on one concept and one concept alone. And I know a lot of people have never really thought about this. But there's
Yeah.
only one principle that the Illuminati is able to run the world on. One principle and one principle only. This is why, uh, to a degree, religion may be a problem, but even religion has been infiltrated. Religion as we know it has been infiltrated through the powers that be. True liberation is enlightenment. Enlightenment is true freedom from bondage. True freedom from bondage is overcoming death. Death is the only principle that the ruling elite is able to rule the world on. That's it. Nothing else. People are afraid to die. Do you really die? Our ancestry had already covered this whole thing about death. This is why religion had to be interjected, because with religion you get an obedient slave and you get to choose. You get either go to heaven or hell.
Right.
And with that choice, you either gonna fall in line or you gonna rebel and whatever. But the bottom line is, they've given you a choice. Our ancestry had already understood that we all are going to the plane of force after we leave here. How you experience the plane of force, that's up to you. But there is no one thing that is going to put you over here because you've been bad. You put yourself over there and you'll deal with that until you can get yourself together. Because the universe doesn't waste anything at all.
Right.
But the powers that be, they had to have monopoly on religion also. Because you have to have a faithful slave. You got to have a slave that buys into the system. The system is not just religion. Everything. I said that earlier. To him. They have a monopoly on everything, but they only run the system by one concept and one concept only: death. If people are not afraid to die, all of this shit goes away tomorrow. You know what? I don't want to go outside. They're spraying chemtrails. Chemtrails may kill me. I don't want to eat the genetically modified food. Why? That shit might kill you. You know what?
That is so true.
Yeah, everything. The whole shit is ran on one concept: death. If you're not afraid to die, who gives a fuck about what they're doing to the food, what they're spraying in the air?
Right.
You eating blue number 9, it's gonna cause cancer. Who gives a fuck?
Right. I don't get on planes because of my cash.
Exactly. They run this whole shit on one thing. People are afraid of CV9 for one reason only.
Yeah.
Yep.
Death.
Yeah.
And if you're afraid of death, I'm gonna line up. Y'all can do whatever the fuck y'all want to do to me. Come on with it.
Yep. I guess we're not afraid of death then, right? I guess you're saying
why? Like I don't understand that whole thing anyway. Like,
oh, go ahead. I'm
afraid to die. I don't know. I don't understand the whole idea of people being afraid of death, like of being afraid to, death. Like,
well, it's how you look at it. You know what I mean? It's how you look at it, because I don't want to die. I don't look forward to dying or anything like that. I can't envision death for myself. That's basically has nothing to do with fear. I just can't see death. You know what I mean? So it's not that I'm not afraid to die. It's just that I don't see death coming my way. I just don't see it. You know what I mean? It's like I always see myself getting around death or escaping death on my terms, not on anybody else's terms. So that's how I always seen it. I always believe in myself under the circumstances that I will overcome and evolve to get around whatever's about to happen. That's my beliefs. And I don't really believe that they're beliefs, because I really believe your mind and your body, as long as they on the same level, anything is possible. So I just
let me add to what he's saying. And this is the little this is the little backdoor to what you're saying, is the fact that when a person says, and maybe they don't understand that they're saying it, or not aware that they're saying it, that they do not subscribe to the concept of death and how it's been given to us, right? Which I agree. If you look at the word itself is a misnomer, because the word death technically is a concept, like we talked about love and this, that, and the third, right? And trust. These are concepts. These are all concepts.
Walls.
But if we look at the universe and how it changes, and change, that's a universal law. Change is constant in the universe. It's always changing and evolving. So when we look at what we call death, doesn't exist because it's a concept. But the process of us evolving out of physicality into a light being, which is a whole nother existence, right, is a part of that evolutionary process. That doesn't mean you died. That means you're living. You're still living forever. just not in
In a body,
a dense form. You evolved
in a
into a more,
capsule.
yes, you evolved into a more high frequency form. And when you have a higher frequency, the form has to change. That means the vibration has sped up. So the faster the vibration, you have to shed dense matter. This is what they call death. I'm going to say it again. When your vibration speeds up to such a high degree, you transform, which means you have to outgrow or shed physicality
Right.
because it has limitations. Now, you're in another form that can do whatever because the rules have changed on a quantum level. So
Right.
now, if you want to walk through a wall, no problem. If you want to fly to Jupiter, no problem.
No problem.
You want to swim with fish for a week, no
That
problem.
sounds that sounds fun.
I
So,
would swim because I can't swim.
but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, death as we know it is a concept. And being that we have a bad, and I'm going to go back to, because I always say we have a bad relationship with nature, but we have a bad relationship, or we have arrested development, because our ancestry knew this shit. And at some point, something happened and intervened where now we got to relearn it. It's in our DNA.
Yeah, but
So
they took that from us though. It's not like we it's not like we automatically just forgot about it. We were taught the opposite to
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like we was basically groomed on the opposite level just to keep us away from it. You know?
So now our DNA is bouncing around and tumbling and moving around, that these dormant things are popping up now. And DCR is a unconventional testament to that, because he's not a formal person. He doesn't read books and things like that. But you still have to ask the question, how does a person arrive at a greater reality of life if they're not formally indulging in literature?
Right.
It's in the DNA.
Right.
And it's going to come out in some shape, form, or fashion. And like babies learning to talk, we got to figure out a way to explain it to the next person, no matter how crazy it sounds. But
Right.
for me, I get it because I get it. Somebody else, like, I almost said his name. He's not going to get the person I was going to say is not going to get it simply because of their vibration. They're not on that frequency. So, back to the Nikola Tesla thing. That was in the 1800s.
I read that. I read an article on that about how he like you said free energy. I don't know how long ago it was, but once you said, I was thinking you said Telsa. Yeah, Telsa, because I always confuse Telsa and Tesla.
Yeah. Tesla was the free energy guy. And the documentary or the movie that I watched, I'll find it and kind of let y'all go check it out. But he was battling with Edison. It was like beef between two inventors. They literally had beef. And one was trying to create some shit that was free for the world, and the other one was working with the bankers to charge us for this shit. And once they figured out that Tesla's shit was the bomb, but he wasn't trying to charge nobody, they was like, oh hell no. So they took his inventions. They kind of, you know how they do, they got rid of him, and they ran with old boy shit and charged us, and we still being charged to this very day. But your cell phone, that's Tesla technology.
Exactly.
These cell phone towers.
I read that and I'm so amazed. Like, wow.
All this Wi-Fi shit. Yeah.
But but go ahead.
Tesla's thing was, people always wanted to know where he got all the information from. And he was able to tap into the higher dimensions and pull the information down through him, and boom.
But you know what he did? I believe he observed like a natural human being should without. Sometimes when you eliminate the things that's blocking your signals in your brain, like because we all got shackles on our brain. You know what I mean? We all shackled. We all have. We think to a limit. You know, everybody has limits because we were taught that these are limits. So I'm not that person myself. I kind of think beyond limits myself, honestly. But I believe he was that kind of person that didn't believe. He didn't let his understanding stop where somebody said it can't go beyond that. And I believe a lot of people stagnate themselves because the knowledge that's been given to them builds walls around their thinking. There's some people out here that don't allow those walls to close them from the universe because inventions go forever. The universe goes forever. So there is no limit in creation. Whatever you can imagine will manifest itself if you put the proper building blocks together. There's a way.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
just gotta figure it. So this has the ability to configure everything and put it in its place. It might take time. Everybody's different, but you will break that condition that was set upon you because conditions were meant to be changed constantly, no matter a billion times over. Oh, it just never stops. It's designed to just never stop. You're always moving to a different direction because nothing can sustain itself. You know, you can't sustain a certain way forever. It eventually rots down or it just doesn't last. So we have to always be thinkers and always change that condition and alter it to a better condition. And we just keep on building and building and building and building. There are no limits. Anything that you think has limits, you are real primitive because there is no walls
There are no limits.
in there. No walls.
It reminds me
Go ahead,
about.
Jay.
It reminds me of the movie Powder.
I remember Powder.
Remember that?
haven't
Remember the
seen it.
movie? Remember the movie? You guys saw it.
I remember Powder.
I didn't see
It
Powder.
reminds me of that.
Powder.
Wait, it
was
sound
fuck-
familiar. It sound familiar. It sound familiar. I might have seen it. Is it old? A
It was
real
that
old movie?
really, really pale white guy, and look it up. And yeah,
He loved
And-
electrical storms. You remember him? He used to get struck. I think at the end, what did he do? He got struck by
at
lightning.
the end, the lightning, like he got sucked into that lightning, but he was able to like just look at things. Like he had books that he just like memorized. He was able to like use his mind and just look at
I
it.
remember Powder. Yeah, that's from like the 90s, I think.
Books do help though. I'm not gonna lie. Even though I'm not a man of books, I do know books can even add something to the way I think. You know what I mean? I just
And he
won't
was a
fall.
loner.
I won't fall a slave to it, but I will take that information from the book into my imagination because I have my.
So let me ask Jay,
He
since
was
she
a-
got
I think.
yeah, he was able to like he would magnetize shit and
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he was like electricity.
what you when you hear the term Illuminati, what comes to mind? And when because I was telling a story about how when I got off into all of that, I was in Atlanta and I moved and I came to Jersey one summer and I had all these Illuminati books and New World Order books, and I bought them to Pot and everybody and kind of put the whole crew up on all of that. And I remember that time frame, the receptance that I got from that. Brothers was intrigued, but they was also a little scared to like this shit is wild, you know. But I remember that time frame when we was getting acclimated to all that Illuminati, New World Order. Then you have rappers
That's the
talking
name
about
of the
it.
book. I was gonna say. I remember reading a book. It
White
was called
book? Was it
Illuminati,
white?
The New World Order.
Was it white and with green
Uh-huh.
writing? Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
had that book. Damn, everybody had that book.
Uh huh.
Yeah, so that
But
that
I think
go ahead.
I think my idea of all, like the Illuminati and all of that is kind of like misconstrued. Because you said, "What's the first thing that came to mind when you said it?" And automatically, I just saw like people in like a circle, like almost like a cult type of thing or initiation type of thing.
Yeah.
I always see that too. I always see that. That
That's
that
the first thing that came to my head.
that always. I always see the same vision you have with that. I always had that same vision too. I always see him with cow heads with horns. I see him with cow heads and horn, like a white cow head with a gown on, but they have a real cow head on the wearing it, and I see a group of them because they're
Yeah.
just
This.
dirty
Like a
motherfuckers, man. So it's like I can't envision them being anything nicer.
That's some of the
president,
imagery that came
certain, I
came out
don't
of
know.
Hollywood.
Like, I don't know, but I just see the whole. That's the first
But
thing that came to my mind. Like the whole concept of it or everything. I really don't. Um, I mean, to a degree, I don't get it, but maybe it's because I just kind of haven't put much thought
you should have been
into
on the show a little more.
that.
You should have been. You should have been here earlier. You would have learned a lot about it.
Oh my gosh!
But nah,
Can
some
you
of the
start
things that
over? I'm just kidding.
yeah, some of the things that people have to understand that Illuminati, the real enlightened ones are our ancestry at their highest evolution in ancient times. Um, they were the real light bearers. Illuminati illuminate light, knowledge, information, bright, brilliant. The Illuminati word deals with bright knowledge or bright information or being somebody who's highly intelligent. You're bright or you're brilliant. The
Oh,
ones
illuminating.
illuminated. The luminaries were our ancestry in Africa, and it came to a head or a high point of evolution in ancient Kemet or Egypt. Egypt is where our ancestors built the temples and the schools of the universe. That's where we put all of that stuff. It existed in Africa, but Egypt was just a place where it all got refined and real perfected. So when you went to Egypt, like almost like a college or like a university of initiation. So when you went there to learn the greater mysteries of the universe. That's what our ancestors were teaching in those temples. You were going through initiations in those temples. You were learning how to become a divine being in flesh in those temples. So when those temples fell and got conquered, you had people who came in and took that information and revamped it and turned it around, assumed our position and put us in the position of being, I guess, a slave.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So the real Illuminati is us. We're the ones we're terrified of. We technically run this shit and don't even realize it.
We, I always say that. I always say that, but I didn't correlate it with the Illuminati, if that makes sense. Like I
Yeah.
always say, like if only we could recognize, like, who we are, and because we are, I don't even want to say we are better than or like of, but you understand what I'm trying to say. I
It's
think
not. It's not a point of being better. You just have to
that's
put
what
things in
I'm
that
saying.
right
I don't want to
context.
that.
Yeah, you just got to put
But
it in its proper context. Like you got an 18-wheeler and you got a pickup truck. They both trucks, but one
right,
is bigger, has more power, more pulling
right,
power, more
right.
hauling space, could do more damage. You just putting it in its proper context. That's all.
Oh, but
So
you gotta think about this though, too. Even though one could do more damage, the other one also could do equal damage. It depends on how you put it, because like the smallest thing can break down the biggest thing when it, on the inside. You know what I mean? So I don't believe there is nothing like really greater than anything. Everything fits in its right picture. You know what I mean? It's like
pause
you
right
can
there.
the smallest
Pause.
thing can hit a fucking pressure point and break the whole body down.
Pause
So
right there. You just said something. You said everything fits in its proper what?
I forgot what word I used. It's proper. What did I say? I forgot what I said, man.
I'm a paraphrase here. I think you said everything fits in its proper place, or where
Something,
where it needs to.
whatever you said. Huh?
This is exactly what I'm saying. It's not a point of being better. You have to put things in a proper context. We are a culmination. When you look at the term supreme, supreme by definition means the highest or the greatest of something, right? That means you are the highest amongst whomever, supreme. When you look at the term being, it means the state you exist in. What do they call us? Human what?
Being.
Being.
Beings. So when you take the term supreme being, it simply means the highest amongst the beings biologically. That's it. So supreme being is just the highest form of biological entity as a human being on earth. Not because I made it up. It's right there in the fucking language, man.
No, but it's the truth. It's definitely the truth, and it's an obvious truth. It's such an obvious truth, but it's unseen by the ones that who should actually see it.
And it's not a play on being better. It's just that
No.
if you're going to use a conduit, you need the strongest conduit for the right amount of energy to be able to flow through it. That's all. It's like a Wi-Fi signal. We all got Wi-Fi boxes, right? Mine may have more speed or something, but it's all the shit's Wi-Fi. So
I get it. I think you could better put it in. You could put it in better terms and context than I could. However, I totally get it.
yeah. So what they did was they switched the roles. That's what they did. They switched the roles. And think about this now, because this is going back to something that DCR said earlier. Are they human? They can't be human if they want to do fucked up shit to people.
I know it don't make sense, right? It just don't make. It's just not. It doesn't fit. The things that they do and what the world was ran on, it doesn't seem like a human is capable of such disrespect to his own. It just makes no sense, because we don't need a lot of stuff that's being forced on us, especially from a human being. Like, why would a human? Because a human will have feelings, right? Because we all got family, this and that. So when you have family and everything, and if you can make the world better for everybody, your family won't be in jeopardy either, or anything like that. So I would think it's more of a savage entity, whatever they call that.
Okay.
I think it's
Okay.
it's just more of a savage. It wants to consume everything in its own light. It doesn't want. It just wants to be on a higher level than everybody. I just think it's just that I can't even explain it because I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, it just makes no sense to somebody like me. Mental, you know what I mean? I always say, like, why would you do all this shit? Like, where are you going with it? Like,
I've
what's
had
the
those
whole?
thoughts.
Because you can make the world better by just advancing all these beings on the planet, and we could create some great shit. We could be going planet to planet right now if it wasn't for such a greed. It's like the greed is so so make no sense. I can't. There's no word for this greed. There is no absolute unless it's something that's not a human.
I've
You know
had
what I
these
mean?
thoughts before. I used to sit and ponder, and I used to say, to myself, there's no way that the ruling elite are human beings by some of the shit that they do to the human species. It can't be a human being. It got to be like some off-world shit, something from another dimension, just something that is not one of us, right? I've had these thoughts. You got to keep in mind that it's a lot of all of that. It's a lot of all of that. On a very basic level, let's go back to the Nation of Islam, which they have a lot of good information, puts things in context, right? And there's some things, about organized groups that I don't. It's not good or bad to me. I've outgrown that shit. But anyway, when Elijah Muhammad talks about a type of man and his nature, you got to pay attention to that. Because when you take something that is a part of the original plan, right? And you start to say, you know what? I want to make a copy of this shit. And I'm going to make another copy. And I'm going to keep making copies of the original. Until you wind up with a copy that is so diluted. And it is so tainted. And it is so void of what the original had. It doesn't have the ability to feel. It doesn't have the ability to have compassion. It doesn't have the ability to connect. So now puts into context that an individual who's not able to connect with nature can destroy nature and won't even lose a fucking blink of sleep because they don't have a relationship to it. They don't got a connection to it. That's just how far removed that this thing is from original creation.
I got a question for you now.
Wow.
Go ahead.
But what if? See, my whole argument with that is, how did that even was an idea to even go to that point? From diluting something to
Good
something
question.
else. My whole
Good
thing
question.
is, bro, is this I always feel, honestly, this has something to do with something from another world that has invaded this world. That's just my opinion. It sounds like something that's out there
It's not
came
crazy.
here.
It's not far fetched.
It came here and it does what it do. It ingrained itself in.
Okay, let me put
what I
it
mean?
into some context for you. I'm going to use my teacher on this one. He talks about source. He talks about the all. He talks about the primordial ocean or source being one and alone, pure existence. And in order for source to know of itself, it has to separate a portion of itself to be able to have information bounce off one aspect of itself and come back to the original self. Now you have knowledge. You can't derive at knowledge without an opposing force. Did I lose anybody?
No, because I'm about to say something real quick before you go on.
Hurry up.
That's like it's like something colliding or something's in a way, and it obviously finds a way to get around, so it develops intelligence in somewhat. It's like I used to have this down. I can't get it right now. I shouldn't even mention it. It's
Okay.
like punching something, constantly punching something till you realize it hurts, and you you know what I mean? You gotta move around it and thinking to get around that. Something like that, like a concept of that nature. I feel like you automatically develop intelligence from constant bang, bang, bang. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Well,
uh,
that's a very human way of looking at it, but in a nutshell, knowledge and information is derived from an opposing force. Now, let me get back to what I was saying. Source is almost looking at a dot. Imagine creation itself is just a dot, a point.
that's it.
Now, with that singularity, there is no knowledge. It just exists. You can't know of yourself until you have an opposing force of yourself. When you look in the mirror, you're looking at a reflection of yourself.
Right.
Whatever information you get sent back to you from that mirror, you can arrive at a level of knowledge on what you may need to do or change. Damn, I'm too fat. Damn, my shoes don't match. Damn, my hair is messed up. Damn, I got a booger in my nose. That is information that has come back to you from the opposing force. When you look at man on the planet, this entire dimension is based on duality, opposites. So no matter how good and pristine a supreme being, a state of being is, you gotta have an opposing aspect to you. Everything has an opposing aspect. So it's not trickery or out of order to understand that man in his supreme state as original man has an opposing force. Every superhero that you see, they'll come out with a nigga that looks just like him from another universe. Exactly. He's an opposing force.
Right.
You have to have an opposing force to move this shit along. Because if you don't have an opposing force, no information is derived. This shit don't move. There's no catalyst. There's no reason for you to be proactive about anything because there is no opposing force. We can't even have this fucking conversation without an opposing force. This podcast don't exist, brainwashed on heavy, without an opposing force.
Right.
There's nothing to talk
Life
about.
has an opposite, and without
Exactly.
the opposite, you can't. Like it just isn't. Like it's one or the other, black, white. You know, up, down.
Duality. We
Yeah.
live in a dimension of duality.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, it's not far-fetched to accept the reality that you have to have a level of separation to create this opposing force to arrive at knowledge, to move you in a particular direction. So there's a place for whatever you want to classify as negative, even if we want to say the Illuminati is bad, right? Okay. From a human perspective, you're right. But at the same time, without them, what pushes man to strive to be free or to be better? Nothing. Nothing at all. This is a very low level of looking at it, right? Now, if you go
I know.
on
I
a
was about
high,
to say that.
yeah,
It's kind of.
yeah. This is a low level. This is a low level. Now, when you look at a higher level, it gets into the realm of maybe this is an experiment. Maybe this shit is bigger than what we think. And the experiment is, let's place these elements in this controlled environment and see what happens. Let's see how they grow. Let's see how they change. Let's see how they overcome. If you watch, you know what I'm about to say, Jay, don't you?
I do know what you're about to say. I know what you're about
No.
to say.
Star Wars.
No, it's not Star Wars. It's not Star Wars. The Eternals.
Oh.
Yes. This is why they could not intervene in man's problems. Because man had to figure this shit out for himself and grow. So it like I said, there's a lot of things that are at play. And when you're at the bottom of understanding, the bottom rung of understanding, then you have the tendency of only being able to see but so far. Here's the thing about the Illuminati. They're still subjected to universal law, whether they are entities from another dimension, whether they're human beings like us, but they're just a watered down version of the original. regardless of what it is, they're still subjected to the same laws that we're subjected to. I think our goal is to figure out ways to overcome their control paradigm. I think that's what the game is.
Well, we already overcame that. I mean, could be because we see that clearly what's going on around us. You know what I mean? So it's like,
but everybody don't.
Yeah, no. But see, here's the see. This is the thing where we see. It's always a mystery. Everything becomes a mystery. Once you start looking at things a certain way, like, okay, maybe this person can see all of this, but this person can't see none of this. This person is actually the one that's actually helping this machine work his wonders and his magic and his power. And this person is with you, but this person is, that person doesn't have the ability.
They have the ability.
No, we say they have the ability, but if they did,
yeah.
But if they did, hold up. But if they did have the ability, then why are they that person? This.
Okay. All I'm saying, let me answer that. Let me answer that. Let me answer that. If we all walk with me here, if we all figured it out at the same goddamn time,
what would be the purpose?
You will dissolve this entire dimension. It will be over. Game over.
That sounds good, but they don't.
No. When I say game over, I'm talking about this dimension will cease to exist. There's no reason for you to be here.
Bro, what I'm saying is that person that we talk, that person that we're talking about that don't want to tap into that.
Okay.
Doesn't have the ability.
He has the ability.
If they had the ability, they would do it. They would be with it, or if its fear is just great in their mind. Does the death overpower them, or what? Because
it's there.
How could you say somebody is equal if they don't even want to see that there's no chains or there's no cage, there's no bars in front of them? That's what I'm trying to say.
I'll say it again. If we all figured it out at the same time, we will not be here. So there's a reason why you got it. You woke up at this time, and I woke up at this time, and Jay woke up at this time, and then there's people who haven't. There's a reason for that.
They don't want to wake up, though. That's different. We wanted to wake up.
We're not the court. No, let's pause. Let's pause. Let's pause. You said we wanted to wake up. Honestly, you want me to answer that?
Sensitive to waking up.
You want me to answer that?
Go ahead.
There was a point in my life where I questioned, why am I the way I am? Because I didn't understand it, right? Why me? Why do I got to think like this? Why am I on it like this? Why does information of a greater reality make me feel good versus some people who like to go shopping and go out and do this and do that? That gives them a good feeling. But for me, going to buy incense and rocks and crystals, that does it for me. And nigga look at me like, nigga, you corny. You know what? Remember, you missed the EHB barbecue that we had down in Florida, right? But before we went, I looked up a crystal and stone store in Kissimmee, Florida, right? So when we got down there, I was on a mission to get to this store to buy some fucking stones. Guess who took me? Coop went with me, and our son went with me. And our son was like, damn, I didn't know the rock game was like this. All these crystals and rocks. Niggas was looking at me like I was weird because I wanted to go to a crystal store. But that's what separates my vibration from somebody else's vibration. And what makes me feel good and what feeds me is that type of stuff. We can't all be on the same frequency. We can't.
Oh, that's true. But I'm just saying, like,
so we can't. So we cannot say that person cannot wake up and won't wake up. It's not time.
But some of them just don't. That they love it where they at though, man. It's kind of different though. You know what I
You
mean?
used to love it where you were.
No, you know what? I've been always where I was at though, Drake.
I used to love it where I was, but I mean,
this is always who we are. We were like this, yo. Listen, when I went to school,
but we wasn't aware. We wasn't aware, Pot. You go back.
We wasn't aware.
We wasn't aware.
Yeah, but hold up. Maybe we were aware. That's
I know
why
I
we
wasn't.
didn't.
Nah,
Hold
I
up.
wasn't aware.
I'm talking about by nature. When put it this way, when I went to school, right, I had issues with I had a learning disability, whatever. Really, I didn't have a learning disability. It's just that my free mind would not be grasped by anything. Nothing could take my free mind, and I'm starting to realize that. It's not that I had a problem with learning. It's just that I had a problem with control. Somebody can't take me and be like, this is what this is and this is how this goes. That just don't work with my mind. My mind has to figure it out and accept it first.
Okay.
So it's like I was always on that journey. You know, that's what actually made me see the world the way I see it today, because I never was inside. I always was looking at it from the outside because I never was. My brain, my learning ability, you know, I didn't get caught up in that learning process. I was always on the outside because I would just daydream. I was always here while they was trying to take that out and put something in. I was always in here. So, and you know, I always daydream most of the time. I daydream in my own,
Okay.
like I do today. The same thing. It's always the same person.
Okay.
So,
I'm waiting.
Huh?
I'm waiting.
No, I'm just saying, but that's what made me the person. That's what made things more easier for me to see, because I never got drawn into that cage. That cage I never locked myself in that cage, and you know, I always been this way.
I'm gonna go back to like 93. I'm gonna go back to 93. In 93, me, you, the whole crew were completely void of any type of knowledge of self. We were like playing football, fascinated with our car with fucking big ass speakers in them.
Remember, I was martial arts, then I was way into martial arts and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, for you, martial arts, you know, this is where our vibration was. We were not tuned in to anything greater.
Oh no, we weren't. No, what I'm saying, but the state of being in a free mind that nothing grasped me. It made that stuff come when it was introduced to me. It made it put all things together. It made me see even further because I wasn't trapped. My mind didn't have.
Okay. So was my mind like yours?
Yeah,
it was.
I mean, I feel like your mind was like mine because you
back then. No, back then. I'm saying back then.
No. I mean, I don't know how you really was back then. I don't know how you. I'm just saying, but to me, if you had the ability to once you seen that platform or your third eye open, your third eye was always open. It just needed to see
what happened.
Something.
What happened with me? What happened with me was religion. I was a religious person. Church.
Oh, I didn't know you was a church person. I never was.
Jesus, Bible. I didn't go to church, but my mom was just like a Jehovah's Witness when I was like in the 9th grade. So it all happened for me because I went to Bible study one day and I asked a question that just made common sense to me, and they gave me an answer that I did not agree with, and I just stopped fucking with them because of that. But that question and that answer sent me on a quest to go out, and this is around the time when I was moving to Atlanta. So when I got to Atlanta,
that's a movie, man. You gotta start writing this down, man.
It's a movie.
Dre's Fantastic Quest, yo, for real, man. When little things like that send you on a quest, like, you know what I mean, like somebody tell you your whole life changing, you now you out.
That,
you know what I mean?
And I'm gonna tell you that,
like that
moment sitting at my mom's table in the living room at Bible study with Cleon. Remember Cleon with the big ass hands?
Yeah.
That conversation.
Yo, Cleon made me feel like I wasn't even. I don't know, man. He didn't even seem like he was human, man. Cleon was a huge dude, man. That nigga
But
hands was like 2 hands, yo. His fingers was like this long. I'm serious. Tell him, Cleon hands. His fingers was like what, 10 inches, dog? Like his one finger was like 10 inches, man.
Cleon.
Y'all got my brother laughing.
Oh my god. And,
Yo,
and you know what's
I'm
funny?
man.
You know what's
Shit.
funny? That's the only thing that Negro remembered from that whole conversation was Cleon's big ass hands and shit. Oh
Yo,
my god.
Cleon hands was unbelievable. His hands was unbelievable, man. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah. He did, but that conversation was pivotal, man. That day, had I not had that conversation, you probably wouldn't have a Brother More Deep right now, to be honest with you, because it was that conversation that was the spark that sent me out to do the homework and the information that I need to gather from that day when I left. And that's when I started studying religions. When I was studying religions, I started figuring out different things about secret societies. And when I started studying secret societies, that's when I learned about the Illuminati. And then when I learned about the Illuminati, I learned about the New World Order. And then once I got into the New World Order, that's when I came back to Jersey with the books, put y'all on. And then that's when I started bumping into different cultural groups that was saying, hey, you know, it's all about us and where we come from and what we put down back in ancient times. So I got off into that. So the thing is, I was not ready until that spark. I don't know what your spark was, but what you just explained was you didn't have the infrastructure in your mind to block it. You were already open to receive. Right. But it still had to be, and I think, well, I don't know what that pivotal moment was. You just didn't have a lot of debris to work through to get to that point.
You just gave it to me. I'm just saying, but what I was saying is, I was easily turned off. That's why I didn't go to church. It's a lot of things. It just didn't make sense to me. Just a lot of things just never made sense to me. First, that's the first and foremost. It just didn't make sense to me. That's why I didn't want to go. It just putting money in the basket for a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, it just never made sense to me anyway. But the whole thing is, man, I just always have a mind.
Because
go ahead, Jay. What you say?
I said mine is so similar because I stopped going because, you know, I was questioning things, and then, you know, the pastor might be speaking and saying something, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. Shouldn't it be blah, blah, blah? Or, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then I was just like, I can't do this. Like, and I just, yeah. I don't even, like.
You was always woke.
That so I was really close to that are like church. Like, it's, but, and we don't even mesh the same. Right. You know, it's still cool, but it's not like how it was when I was like going to church. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just think about it. Your mind was always open. I'm sorry.
So there's people. We all got the equipment. We all have the ability. It's just that they haven't woken up yet. It's just not their time.
We just keep saying it ain't their time, but
it's not their time. It's not their time.
Everybody do have ability too, but I don't think they want. I think they love where they at. They just like the blue pill, whatever they go. I just think they like that pill, man.
Why wouldn't they?
If they know better, I think if they know better, they would do better. Sometimes they're just not. Oh well, it's not aware. Like, but what? Like, what is?
I mean, based on what I learned from some of my elders, we have different incarnations. Just because a person is here doesn't mean they're supposed to wake up in this lifetime. That, in a nutshell. Some people came here to be crackheads. Ain't got shit to do with high knowledge, none of that shit. They are official crackheads. They will die and transition out of here as a crackhead. They came here to do that. But being a crackhead is being an example and we talked about this of what not to do. How you can look at something in living color when it comes down to experience. Now, if I see a nigga run into a store, rob it, get shot in real time, blood splatter, people screaming, loud ass gunshots, the whole shit, in living color, that's enough for me to say, look, nigga, don't be robbing those stores. Don't be doing this. Don't be doing that.
Right.
It has to occur for you to really get it to say, you know what, I ain't fucking with that. Everybody's playing a part.
As examples, that they just basically live to be an example.
Some people are. We are all examples.
No.
Yeah, we are all examples.
That is true.
Yeah, we're all examples. We all playing a part.
We all play our own universe, man. We're all from our own universe. Well, not our own universe, but there is a universe in there, I believe, and we all have our place in there, and how it interacts with this place. We're all from our own thing.
But Dre, you said earlier that if we all something about the dimensions.
If we all got it at the same time.
At the same time. You know what that reminds me of?
What?
The because it makes so much sense. The Black Mirror episode where they were dating, like they were doing the recycled dating, like what do you call that? Like you'd be stuck with somebody for like 5 years, 2 months, 24 hours, and then at like the couple that were waiting to see each other again, they figured it out that it was not a real. I forgot the name of it. I'm gonna send it to you. The name of the episode. I forgot the name, but it's exactly what you're talking about.
So once you, in other words, completion or perfection means death. And I don't mean in the sense of the word death, but once cancer perfects itself in the host dies. Perfection means it's the end of one level and on to the next. Once you complete something, once it's complete, it has to change. There is no more movement left or right. Once it's completed.
You know what? I'm not actually talking about the completion. I'm talking about when you said, shoot.
If we all figured it out at the same time?
No, not that. That just reminded me of what you had said previous, of the whole Black Mirror episode. Like, if once you get it, like, that you're, oh my God. I'm going to send it to you. You're going to see it and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. I wanted to say it at that moment, like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. But I didn't, and I should have.
So yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, the ruling elite are who they are because of what we believe about them. Ultimately, what we believe about them. They have amassed. You can't even count the level of wealth that these people have. And when you have that level of wealth, you have the ability to control a lot of aspects of society. The only thing is all of that's changing. When you are losing control of something, you scramble to figure out a new way to control that thing that you're trying to control. This is what's happening now.
So we're helping them, to speak.
What'd you say?
I said, so we are helping them thrive, so to speak.
They feed off of us. This is where your vampire concept comes from.
That's what I mean.
I got something for both of y'all to do. I got an assignment for both of y'all. You know that I think I mentioned this before though, but you know that song from Sting, Wrapped Around Your Fingers?
Hell no.
No.
Look up the song from Sting, Wrapped Around Your Fingers, and I have an assignment for y'all. Look up Look up every word that he mentioned in that song in a dictionary, and I think you would love it because I know that's your type of thing, Dre. Look up the word "I'll be wrapped around your fingers." You remember that song?
Mm-mm.
I'll be wrapped around your fingers. Now y'all know what song I'm talking about?
No, you do
Well,
realize you live.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm saying, but that's the real song. But look up that song, and it's all there in that song. Look up the stuff that he mentioned in that song because the song
I'll
won't
check
make
it
sense.
out. I'll
The
check it
song
out.
won't make sense when you hear it because you want to. What is that? What is this? What is that? You have to look up all the stuff that he was talking about in the
Is
dictionary.
this the video where he's dying?
No. This is the video when he's dancing and he got those candles, these long big candles, and he's
Oh,
this is the 80s. This is in the 80s. He was running over. He was in his room dancing, singing. You know what I mean? He not dancing, but he was just walking in this dark place with just mad candles, and he was singing that song. But everything that he said is what we talking about as far like your servant is your master's. You know what I mean? Just listen to that song all the way through, but you have to look up everything that he was talking about to get a clear picture. And I
mm-hmm.
know I'm just because I did it one day years ago because I was like, damn, what is he saying? And then when I learned the song, I'm like, what is this? What is that? I had to go to the dictionary to see if what he was saying was even anything at all, and it was. He took stuff about the devil and all this stuff about the world. Yo, I'm telling you, it's all in that song, dog. It's that shit deep. That song deep as hell. But you gotta listen to the song and then look up everything he's talking about in the song. And he used all these these crazy names and words in the Bible and stuff like that. Devil word,
Well,
all this stuff.
we'll figure it
Yeah,
out. We'll figure it out.
yeah.
I'll
Wrapped
look
around
into
your
that.
finger. Sting wrapped around your fingers.
I'll check it out. We'll check out Sting.
The Police. Yeah, he actually sings songs. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. So, let's wrap this up, man. So the Illuminati is, it's not what people think. Do they have power? Yes. Are they outside of creation? No. Are they subjected to the laws of the universe? Yes. Do they die like everybody else or transition? Yes, they do. Are they very psychopathic? Yes. Narcissist? Yes. These are people who are detached from a level of reality. Take Thanos again. Thanos was a bad guy, but Thanos had a agenda of making sure planets did not destroy themselves over too much population and consuming too much of the resources, where the planet ultimately would just be destroyed because there was too many people. So Thanos' thing was he was going from planet to planet and killing off a certain amount of people so he can maintain a certain balance. Was that his call? Here's where I have a problem with the Thanos theory and the Illuminati. I don't think it's their call to pick and choose how many people needs to be eliminated from the planet because they want to maintain resources. I think that's a farce. I think they want to maintain a level of people because they cannot control the amount of people that we have efficiently. So you have to reduce the numbers where the numbers are controllable easily. But when you have too many people, you can't maintain control, and then you'll lose control, and then the shit's a wrap. I think the universe already has checks and balances in place on how to balance out our planet. We have land on this planet that's not even being used by humans. It's just here. No one lives there. There are no homes built on it. It's not cultivated. We have plenty room. We have plenty food. We have everything that we need, and we have a natural cycle of things. The transition of babies being born and us transitioning out of physical bodies into more etheric bodies, that's the universe's way of keeping balance. So the planet could never be overburdened with too many people. It's absurd. But they think that they are the caretakers of planet Earth. They think that they're the ones who can dictate who lives, who dies.
Sounds like somebody that came to the earth and just took control of it. That's what it sounded like to me. Somebody came here and just took control of it, and that's what it looked like. A group of people came here in a spaceship and crashed in a Bermuda Triangle. Go ahead.
No. Finish.
Well, I think
Antarctica probably where the base is at.
When you look at the theory of someone coming here, we came here.
True.
So
okay, if we came here, then are those images really the original images
of who?
From the savage images of us? Because if we came here, wouldn't we be more technology wise? Like if
we
what I mean, if we came to this planet, we wouldn't be dressed like out in the wilderness, just facing lions and tigers and shit, playing what you call it, chase the what is it? What Daryl say? Forgot what Daryl said, man. But you know what I'm talking about. Daryl from Coming to America, man.
Well, go ahead. It all depends on who's telling.
I'm like, who's Daryl? Oh yeah, Daryl from Coming to America.
It all depends on who's telling your story. If somebody's telling your story, your historic story, that don't look like you, that's problem number one.
Right.
That's
problem number one.
We should save this stuff. But go ahead.
Let me show you these images of our ancestors when they had light bulbs. I'm gonna show y'all this shit right quick, just to let you know that. And it all depends on who tells your history. Like when people who don't look like you is telling your history, of course they're gonna make it. They're not gonna tell the truth. We ain't gotta get into watering it down and all of this shit. They just gonna be very biased. Now, the reason why they don't let us tinker around with telling their history, because the further back you go, you start running into issues where motherfuckers don't exist. That's a big problem. That's a big problem.
On top of men.
So you start running into shit where,
So what you think? And you think Antarctica might have some information? You think you think Antarctica is a stationary place there? Stationary for
I think Antarctica got a whole bunch of secrets it's gonna give up soon. See that? That's a light bulb. Written on the walls in Kemet. Our ancestors wrote every fucking thing down. Sure
but
did.
I guess they put that down as like they probably put it down like that to make sure it goes through time. To make sure it sustained itself. The information is sustained when it's carved into rock.
You took it down too soon. I didn't get to see it.
No,
I bought readers.
Oh.
Dang.
I'm gonna put it back up.
Yeah, I'm gonna sleep so good tonight. I haven't slept since I only slept a couple hours since Friday. I mean, I haven't slept since Thursday.
You're gonna sleep good.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I am.
I'm just
grandmother.
Trying to put this big one up there.
So all them books, all that stuff is all them books in school and all that stuff is basically just it's crazy, man. Like we spend all our time in school just to learn some made up shit.
You have to
that unlearn, relearn. No, what is it? Unlearn what you've learned and then relearn again.
Yeah, that's crazy because that based our whole lives was based on that history,
A facade and a lie.
Can y'all see that?
I
and
see
nobody's
it.
being punished for it either. Nobody's being punished for it or nothing. We're being robbed of our existence every
God.
single day.
Those are the light bulbs. I don't
So
know.
we are behind. They actually took that technology and they're using it. They like it's actually what's going on today. Consume all and control all when you take everything away from people and make them buy it back from you. But you know what I mean? So it's that's crazy. Consume every resource, recycle it, and give it back.
Not even just resources, like, they the history and
Yeah,
like
I'm saying
everything.
everything. I mean,
It's
everything is yeah.
everything.
That's what I'm saying. Everything, man. It's like taking somebody's
You're so
food from their
right. You're
backyard
so
and
right.
then modifying it and everything and sell it back to you modified.
Hmm.
So you know what I mean? It's like just taking everything. And that's a sign of control. You know what I mean? Like, listen, I'm gonna take up every natural resource. I'm gonna destroy every take all the seeds, whatever it is, and I'm gonna keep it in my plant and grow the shit and sell it back to you.
And if you are using my seeds that I got a patent on that I own, then I can sue you because you're using some shit that I own.
Yeah, but don't we own? Is there really a such thing of ownership anywhere in this world? Do you really own anything? And it's like we living in a world of pretending. We pretending that we own
You
something,
can
dog.
own anything that you create. You can't own anything that is naturally occurring. So if I
Bro,
take an apple seed and I modify it, that new creation is mine.
but no. This is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm saying from a deeper perspective. You don't own nothing. You don't even own your own body, really. You know what I'm saying? Like we're pretending to have ownership over things that we truly don't have no owner. It's like it's an agreement. Owner.
This entire dimension is on borrowed time. Everything is on borrowed time.
Yeah, so we really don't own. We're pretending to own. Everything is like pretending. It's like we playing a
Well, it's not
goddamn
even
game.
pretending. I think with human beings, it's the idea of
An idea.
I think. Oh, turn it down. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
All I'm saying is we really don't own anything. We just believe we do.
So what does the Illuminati really own? Do they really have the power that they have? Are they
The only
really in control?
actually, you know what? Actually, they really don't have power, and they really not in control. We actually allowing somebody because
We give
we're
it to them.
allowing that power and control. So it's not even really that they have power. It's just that we giving them our power to have.
Right.
It's a psychological war. It's like it's basically I can have power, really don't have power, but you giving me the power.
So now you just figured out what the Matrix is.
Yeah.
You just figured out what the Matrix is. That's the Matrix. It's one big mind game. And with that game comes a self imposed prison that you create for yourself. That's what it is. And
I'm
somebody,
sending that episode. I'm gonna send it to you and Pot.
yeah, somebody perpetuates. There's a show that I did years back on change your mind, change your reality.
Uh-huh.
And in that episode, I talk about how it's similar to computer software. When you have a program running in the background and you don't know it, um, it hijacks your reality. You think it's yours, but it's not your reality. And that's what's going on right now. Your reality is being hijacked. Now, imagine the people being used as batteries, like they talk about in the Matrix, right? We're being used as batteries, but the power that they are using through us is creating and sustaining this entire dimension. So we are creating our own prison based on the shit that they're feeding us.
Right.
This is why what we believe and what we project is very important to them. This is why media is so important. That's the biggest weapon they got going, is media and what we see and what is going into our minds. Because we can create storms, we can create bad weather, we can create any phenomenon if the population starts to vibrate on that singularity or that one thought. That's why it's very important for them to control the narrative on everything. So, with that being said, they do not have all the power. We just, and this is the beauty of the Aquarian age right now, because Illuminati control during the Aquarian age comes down. So that's why my ancestors, well, my elders have been saying that it's a very glorious time to be in a body right now, because you're gonna witness the fall of the cabal. It's all coming down slowly but surely, and they're scrambling in every facet of our lives to fix the holes that are springing up, the leaks.
By putting it in our food and all that crap.
So
taking away our food supply and all kinds of shit. But that's all right though. That's all right.
Well, we win in the end.
In the end,
we win. It's already been written. We win in the end. You know,
there is gonna be some casualties in this win.
There's never
which
casualties.
Actually is happening right now. I mean, with the which actually is happening now. That's all the casualties. That's basically what's going on there.
Well, it is what it is, but I'm just happy to be here to witness. And once we transition out of this dimension into the higher plane, then we will assist those who are still in the physical from a different, a different perspective. That's why you should always invoke ancestry. You should always invoke family that's crossed over, because that's our power base, believe it or not. And they are in a position more than us to change things, because they're not bound by not being able to walk through walls, and they're not bound by limitations of this dimension.
Yeah, that like dense bodies.
Yeah, they're more free. So when you tap into them, like the guy said on Amistad, ancestors have to come and help if you asked. They're compelled. They just have to do that. But we don't ask. You know what we do? We call yeah, we call Jeebus.
Jesus.
Yeah, Jeebus.
Yeah, that's the plan. You pray to your oppressor, his creation.
Yeah. So it's a very elaborate system, and they're very clever. But yeah, man, it is what it is. Our goal right now is to take one day at a time, and we got work to do.
We're gonna be all right, Sean. We're gonna be all right, Sean.
So, I think we're gonna go and close out. This probably is the longest show we've ever did, because by the time Jay got on,
because I was late.
We was already. You know what? You might be right, because by the time you came on, I think me and Pop was almost at an hour.
We 2 hours in, bro.
So when you came on, it just went into it went into like regular time. The frequency went into regular. So and it felt like regular time, but I'm looking at the clock and it's like 2 hours, man. 4 minutes.
Yeah, 2 hours, dog. Like damn, you're an hour overboard.
So, but it's all good, and yeah, it is great. So. And my closing remarks, I think people need to learn their history. Your dollar bill does not have the devil on it. It actually has Moorish symbols on it on one side with the pyramid. The pyramid represents empires that were ruled by our people in deals that we made with these other people, and it's on the currency. So we got to stop looking at our symbols and things as something that's evil, and they set that in motion to make sure you never fuck with it. That's why everything is dark and don't touch it, and they did that for a reason, to keep you out. One of my good teachers always said, if you want the answers to what they're hiding, you got to go in the dark and get them.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's always, yeah, it's true indeed. That's like with anything.
And what
Whatever
they
they
do,
say is bad is always
they
good.
put at the doorway of the darkness all your fears and your monsters and your vampires and goblins. They
Who
put all that
does
shit
that,
right at the
dog?
door. And they put that at the doorway so you never go in.
What kind of animal does this though, dog? What kind of living source of flesh?
Well, like Yoda said, when Luke asked Yoda, what would I find in that hole? And he was like, whatever you take with you. So your greatest fears is what you're going to be confronted with when you go into those dark places.
Right.
And that's why when he struck Darth Vader, which was his greatest fear, when he took his lightsaber and slashed half of his mask off, who did he see?
Himself.
He saw himself.
Yeah.
So there was nobody to fear but himself. He confronted himself,
Yo,
which is
that
his own fear.
dude. Yo, man, Lucas, whoever gave him the information on Star Wars, man, that's deep too. Just to come up with the concept of that and take it like that's a brilliant, man. That shit was brilliant to me, man.
That's Kabbalah. Star
That
Wars
shit
is
brilliant.
Kabbalah. All that's
That
Kabbalah.
shit brilliant, man. That shit brilliant, man.
Speaking of Kabbalah, I remember when everybody was running around wearing Kabbalah bracelets.
Fad stuff, but Kabbalah is very, 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 very powerful and deep if you know how to read the Tree of Life and you know the cipheras that are on it. Yeah, we got a Tree of Life.
That Kabbalah. I just know the name because of the bracelets. I remember everybody was like,
we got a front side and a back
Kabbalah
side of the Kabbalah. A visible side and a shadow side. The shadow side is what they call the evil or dark side. That's the way they get it in Star Wars. But the shadow side is the most powerful side of the Tree of Life. That's why they really don't talk about it. And right in the middle is the Darth symbol, and where you get Darth Vader. So when you deal with the backside of the Tree of Life, it's they don't fool with it and they don't teach it because the power that's there.
It consumes everything.
In a nutshell, yeah, it'll help you, but you can't go in there unpurified. You can't go in there with your bullshit and your impurities. Like Luke, what you're gonna encounter on that dark side of that tree is what you take in. But it's extremely powerful.
You gotta look at it like as in space. Space is all darkness, right? It's more massive darkness than it is light. So that darkness can consume all of that light if it has to. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. The size of the dark side compared to the light side, which I believe on an equal basis, maybe. But from what I see, the space is massive. Darkness.
Light exists within darkness.
Yeah. So darkness is the dark side.
Doesn't exist within light. Light exists within darkness. But
well,
anyway,
I'm just saying balance to get like definition. Like they both go like together to form definition. Though light and dark is sort of a manifestation of definition.
So any closing remarks before we shut it down?
I'm mad I missed the beginning,
Mm,
but I'll see it.
I got one. When there is light, when there is dark, one must see clearly through the path of temptation.
The Some Dumb Goy. Do you remember the Some Dumb Goy?
I remember it, but I don't remember from where.
The Last Dragon. The Some
Dragon. Come on, man.
The Some Dumb Goy.
Dragon.
Coolie. All right, well, I'm gonna give y'all this this outro. I know y'all love this outro, so y'all can be mesmerized again.
Like, yeah, be mesmerized and shit. Wake up and be dreaming. Don't even know you dreaming. Now you in a dream of it.
Y'all got problems, man. All right, I'm your brother Muad'Dib. This is another Brainwashed on Heavy show, and y'all be easy.